What's up, people? Sharky back with yet another review, and today I'm going to be looking at the G.I. Joe Retro Cobra Bat. So let's get cracking. So straight off the bat, pardon the pun, you get a look at what's inside the bubble and the card art. And look, let's be honest, I would prefer the original card art via way of Hector Garrido, I think it might have been, than this, but it's not too bad, all things considered. Over on the back, a very, very small cross-sell. Retro green shirts, still waiting on those. Coming soon. And the bat. Yeah, way to go Hasbro on really hyping us up about your product. There's a blurb here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but if you want to read it, I'll get it in frame and you can pause and have a read yourself. But yeah, if you're collecting G.I. Joe Classified, you know what the bats are all about. They are battle android troopers. They are robotic minions of Cobra that they send to the front line to basically do all the dirty work, that are more disposable than their typical Cobra Legion. So yeah, anyway, that's that. Card art, boom boom, we're all done here. Let's get the figure out of this bubble, eh? And straight out of the packet, we'll see how well he stands without any manipulation of the figure, and he is standing really well. He looks really far away. I think it's because I changed my camera angle. Anyway, I digress. But first, we'll go through the accessories. We'll start with the stand, which comes with all the retro figures. It obviously has the Cobra insignia on it. Now, it'd be nice if we got a stand with every figure. And of course, not everyone uses stands, but I think for display purposes, sometimes they are warranted. And yeah, we just don't for whatever reason. Now, I'm just going to zoom in down here. One moment, please, while we adjust our camera. There we go. All right, back to the accessories. So, if you're familiar with the original bats that we've gotten in the line so far, you will recognize this sidearm, which, when compared to the original bat, is a different shade of grey. It might be, hang on a second, let me see if I can get a better look on the camera here. You can see it is definitely different. So yeah, it is a very, very small change, a minute one even. And I don't know, I feel like the other one stands out better than that one. Just in terms of, when I say stand out, I mean like the details stand out better on it, rather than the muted tone one. So that's that. You get his backpack, which is again identical to the other one in terms of the sculpt. But again, the shade is slightly different. It's slightly darker on this one than on the original bat. But yeah, it's the same thing. All in sundry. Get that out of the way. You get two removable chest pieces. Chest pieces. Yes, chest. I mean chest. And if you, again, have the first bat, you will know that these were done in a all black finish. I would have much preferred these with that bat, but of course that was a classified bat. So this is a retro one, so you're getting the more retro inspired one like you would have seen on the vintage figure. And one has some battle damage to it, which you can see there. And the other one is undamaged. So that's those. You get a second head sculpt. Focus, thank you. Which has some nice damage to it, and it looks pretty good. I don't actually have a damaged bat head handy to compare, but I like what they've done with the eye here, and the cracking with the red faceplate is quite nice. And then you got a nice little touch here for some ventilation. So yeah, it does look pretty good. You get two blast effects. I'm recording this after work, so it's been a long day, folks. And this one, the blue one, has a curve in it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or if it's just warped in the packaging. And then you've got a very, very small one for the flamethrower. So yeah, this is the laser blast, which, yeah, might need a bit of heat, methinks. So yeah, that's very small. Obviously, you would expect a flamethrower to be blasting out a pretty decent amount of flame. So a bit of a tight ass Hasbro approach, but still nice to have them included because we didn't get them with this guy. And then you have the 3 different pieces. You have the claw grip. And I do like the metallic look of this because do I have one handy? No, I don't. Actually, I do, on his hand. Boom. So in the original one, it was a very matte gray, whereas this has more of a steel or alloy look to it. So I dig that. Under the light, it pops really nicely. So that is a nice inclusion. Well done, Hasbro. Spent a bit of money there. And then you've got the flamethrower attachment, which again, they have added a charred effect on the barrel, and that has a port for a blast effect, of course. And there's a comparison to the original classified bat, which is again that muted gray, and this metal look, the finish on it does pop. Oh dear, something just happened with the flag that I'm leaning on.
A few moments later.
Technical difficulties. All right. This is what happens when you have your reviews being filmed on a 40-year-old. And then you have the laser cannon blaster. And again, they've got like I guess you could say it's like a heated up effect, or like maybe it's like, it could be some like some scoring from the laser blast. But yeah, it's a nice touch, and again, there's a port for the blast effects. So that's the accessories, folks. So we'll kit him out, and we will have a look at the figure. All right, so starting from the top, we'll work our way down, and you can see that I've fitted him with this head. He can look down there, and pretty much up to there. So side to side, you've got some nice range of movement, obviously in the head, which is what you want, but considering that, you know, he's a robot and a trooper that, you know, is going to get shot, so you could pose him like, you know, taking around here to the head or whatever. And in terms of the arms, they are moving very, very nicely, which is good. Oh, camera, come on, mate. There we go. So you've got butterflies here, and obviously here, you've got a nice Cobra Tampo on the arm, and that really pops with that yellow. Bicep swivel, no problems there. Range of movement in the elbows. Oh, it's a bit clunky. So there, pinless is there. And the robotic like arms of these look eerily like the Terminator when I look at them now, especially with this nice alloy finish that they've got on them. You can see that I've fitted the laser on this arm. Just get your bicep swivel so you can have a look there. No issues there. This spins around on the wrist, which is cool. And no problems there with the hands, and you can articulate up. Nice range of motion and down. So looking at the chest, you can see we've got the, you know, the circuitry and whatnot, like on the original figure. And I'll throw this plate on so you can see how that looks. Now, There are a couple of other reviews of this figure that have been circulating for some months now, because I believe that there was prototypes available to be bought on the secondary market. But I waited until this came out and it was available at Pop Culture this week, and so I figured, why not review it? Adam, why not have a crack, mate? Eh? Why not? I like bats. I've got several of the other incarnations of them. I'm just noticing this arm's a bit clunky. There we go. And I'm glad I got him. I was never really going to get him, but I like the yellow, and I don't think I'll be buying more because I do like the classified orange version. So I guess this guy could be like a specialist bat in my headcanon. Now, in terms of ab crunch, belt here is inhibiting him a little bit. God, I'm stumbling over my words tonight. It's been a long day, folks. It's been a long day. And you can get him in a nice pose there. Again, taking a few rounds to the chest. He can go side to side, no problems. And articulates in the waist really nicely. And none of that cut like you would see on a Marvel Legends, which is great to see. You can see that I've already put the sidearm in the holster. And we may as well have a look at his legs while we're here and see how they are. That one doesn't want to go up. I'm going to take the backpack off for 1 second. Let's try the other one. There we go. That one's a bit better. I think this holster might be getting in the way a little bit. Oh no, there you go. Just had to persevere. So he isn't like fluid in terms of his movement, but he's a touch clunky, but not in a bad way. And moving on to the buckle there on the belt, it's pretty basic. You've got some kind of electrical device componentry or whatever you want to call it here. And flipping over to the back, you've got the backpack peg hole there. And I'll just throw this back on for a second because I want to show you that how this looks, which again looks great. Ability to hold all of his accessories. And the backpack is not coming off. And lastly, we'll just look at the boot cut. Moving nicely. The yellow on the boots, again, like the yellow on the upper, it just pops. Like, it really, really does stand out. And his feet do articulate downwards and upwards a little bit. But anyway, that is pretty much everything on the articulation side of things. So why don't we throw something else on? Let's throw his claw on. And then we will do some other little looks at his different effects. Wow, these are coming off very simply. Like, not in a good way. Like, I just moved his arm and it just popped out. Like, they're not falling out or anything by any stretch, but I just realized my lamp's not on. Apologies, I stopped to make dinner. That's much better. Now, yeah, like they're not falling out or anything like that, but yeah, just something to be mindful of. But these also do open up so far so you can have him grip onto I like to put them around a person's neck. Who have I got nearby that we can do that to? Let's just grab good old Captain America here. You can see that they can even hold the figure like pretty well. So yeah, take that, Cap. And in terms of the flame effect, again, the flame effect is a little bent, I think. It does look good, you know, especially with some light on it. But unfortunately, I want to see if Torch's flame effect would fit, and the peg is too big for the blast effect port, which is a shame because that would look so much more kick-ass. But anyway, we make do with what we got, don't we? And there is his laser banana burst. God, that looks janky as hell. Shawing! Let's throw him back down here, and we will go ahead and do some comparisons with some other Joe and Cobra characters. So I figured, why not put him next to the Battle Armor Coco, because we didn't have him when the Bats originally came out. And the Bats creator in Dr. Mindbender. And I did that for another couple of reasons. One, I feel like you could see Coco like going into battle with these guys. You know, obviously he's got the armor to protect him. He can just throw as many of those as he wants at the Joes. And also I put him in here because the purple pops on Mindbender like the yellow does on him, and with the silver here. So just a bit of, you know, color juxtaposition, I guess, for lack of better phrasing. It does really look good. Like, I'm actually really more impressed with the look of the figure than I thought I would be, which is surprising. Anyway, we'll flip these two blokes out and we will pop in another couple of characters. So, Crimson Bat on the left, Iron Grenadier Bat on the right, which is probably my favorite Bat release to date. And I chose those two because of the more muted like red in this guy, and obviously the black and all the gold accents on this guy, just to see, you know, again, what the colors would look like in comparison to them. And he fits right in. He does stand out a little bit, but, you know, because obviously these guys have got more red on them than he does, but I also feel like this head would look pretty sick on either of those. So give me one moment and I might just do that. So I think that looks effing dynamite. Like, that is perfectly made for that. That is killer. Like, look how badass that is. Yeah. Oh, I kind of feel like I wish I'd gotten more of these and more of these. And I don't think that the Iron Grenadier Bat, it doesn't look amazing, but it kind of works. You know, if this was a bit more brighter in terms of the gold, it would probably work a bit better. But that looks phenomenal. This does look pretty decent on this too. I don't think it looks as good as the other one, but it does work. Obviously, the black and the red, like the red stands out more. It's a bit wobbly, that head. But yeah, definitely another look you can throw at your Bats if you've got a few of them. So another option. Exterminate! Exterminate! And before we do one final comparison, I just want to show you something. And I think this is something that people kind of take for granted with the Battle Android Trooper. And that is that in the comics, they were often featured with very similar AK style weapons. If you go back and look at the original ARA books. And in my diode, which is up there, which you can't see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Bats in different poses and whatnot. Like, I've got a few of them that are stacked up, like they're just not in use, and there's a couple that have had the shit blown out of them and whatnot. But I do arm my Bats that are on that display with these gridiron weapons, and like, you cannot tell me that that doesn't look killer. So yeah, like, of course you've got all these options, but feel free to put some actual guns in the hands of your Bats, folks. All right? Do it. Do it for Sharky. And lastly, you see the Bat here with two of the Marvel Legends Reavers. Pretty Boy over here, and Numbskull, whose name I can never bloody remember. I can never remember his name. Someone will tell me in the comments, no doubt. But I put them in here because, you know, some people like to mix their toy lines, you know what I mean? And I don't do that all the time, but in my diorama up there, once again, I actually have Pretty Boy standing behind a bat, firing in that position, and he's got that gun right now, over the bat's shoulder, using the bat kind of as like a robotic shield. And I feel like he fits because, you know, these guys are basically experiments. They're cybernetic / humans. I feel like, you know, something Mindbender could get away with. So I just thought I'd throw them in there. Like, he stands out like dog's balls compared to them, but, you know, just in the name of fun, folks. So let's wrap this up. Final thoughts. Look, let's be honest here. It is a repaint and reuse out the wazoo. You know, it is just a perfect example of Hasbro making the most of the molds, tooling, and all that jazz. However, they're giving us an iteration of the character that some people are more fond of than, you know, say, the classified version. And also it serves a purpose for people who weren't in on the line early on and missed out on the classified bats. Not to say that they are rare, the first bat, but it's just another option. You get a lot of accessories, and sure, they all work, you know, in decent fashion. You know, there's no complaints on that front. Warped effects aside, that's the nuts and bolts of it. You know, there's not a lot to really say about it, other than I really dig the color palette of this version. You know, the fact that they've given nice little highlights on the weaponry as well. He can hold everything in his backpack. The alloy sort of inspired finish on, you know, his robotic appendages and whatnot. It does make the figure pop, and it's a nice little, you know, update in that sense. But a pleasant surprise for me because, like I said, I didn't really have much of an intention of buying this. So I bought it just to review it, and also to see if I could possibly get bigger numbers than Travis Moody. It's all fun and games, folks. It's all fun and games. But yeah, man, that's it. That's the review. I hope you enjoyed it. Are you going to go and get this guy? Have you already ordered him? If you can't wait for him to come to the States, you can always order him from Pop Culture. Still available on their website. And that's the whack. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. Feel free to share it around. Feel free to comment or, you know, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Yes, do that. I've got even more reviews coming in the days ahead. I'm a busy bee this week. Anyway, on that note, thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves, have fun with your toys, and say hello to your dogs for me.